on TV.
All right, well, welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Today is, I believe, our 6th meeting of this year, this fiscal year. Madam Clerk, would you like to do roll?
Yes. Chair Danny Montana.
Present.
Member Miller, Jay Miller.
Present.
Member Steve Calle.
Present.
You have a quorum.
So today I'm going to share my screen so we could just sort of look over the agenda, which is posted on Granicus. And it is 5:32, so we're starting on time. Today there's a few items. We have items 1 through 5. There's no updates from the last time, what we discussed as far as the revenues and expenses. That's exactly, it's remained the same. Today is a big meeting at the commission at 7 o'clock because number 1 item on the agenda of the commission is the setting of the millage. And that's what will be advertised in August to all the property owners throughout the city, letting them know of the hearing, first hearing in September. And with that, I'm going to skip around, if you don't mind, just for 1 second to item number 4, which is the updated budget schedule. There was a modification made to fiscal year 2023's budget that you saw earlier. And the only addition was the last meeting, the final public hearing in September was set for Thursday, September 22nd. But we're required, because remember, we can't do board meetings on any of the other days. So in conflict, we moved it to Wednesday, September 21st. So it's 1 day earlier than what the schedule was, the last one that we provided. And this is going to be, so on the trim notice, it'll advertise the trim that is expected to be heard at the first budget hearing, which is September 6th. And then whatever's, if they modify it there, they could. Or if not, the final budget hearing will be Wednesday, September 21st. So with that, we've eliminated, at least sort of completed. Any questions on the updated budget schedule for this fiscal year?
Afraid, are we still looking at Friday, July 29th as the where we're submitting this to the mayor and the commission?
Absolutely correct. Yes, sir. We're looking at it right now. Actually, a draft is being reviewed by the city manager, so we're definitely on track to provide them with a copy of it. And then the most important date, for the Budget and Finance Committee, will then make the presentation to the commission, is on Thursday, August 4th. That is the budget workshop.
And is there a time for that already?
It is Madam Manager. I'm going to ask her. I believe it's at 10 a.m., but I'm not 100% sure. She may know.
Yes, it is at 10 a.m.
So it's at 10 a.m. Thursday, same as last year. 10 a.m. August 4th on Thursday.
Right.
That is the budget workshop.
There's another budget workshop this Thursday, right?
This Thursday, there's not that I'm aware of.
No?
No.
Oh yeah, it's August 2nd, right?
August 4th.
August 4th, that's right.
So August 4th is the budget workshop. That hasn't changed. That's from the original, and that's the one that will do the presentation. The Budget and Finance Committee will have. It'll probably be the first item or maybe the second item on the agenda. And again, today, big meeting, setting the millage. What's being proposed is 3.99, like I mentioned at the last Budget and Finance Committee meeting. I don't know if that will be modified. It's going to be heard by our commission today at 7. And that will, whatever they decide today, the majority, that is what will be advertised on the trim notices moving forward, along with the first budget hearing, which is Tuesday, September 6th.
And you guys have already, and we're going to talk about this in a second, you guys have already announced to the commission what the actual number budgeted that the savings for the residents is going to be, what the cut is to our budget.
It is provided in the support on the item. So if you look at the item on the agenda, I can probably even bring it up so you can see. Are you looking at my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could see there's a memo, and then there's trim package. This is the trim notice, the sort of the 420 DR, Department of Revenue DR 420 that I provided to you a long time ago, last meeting. And then the Miami-Dade County reports. But in the memo, and I'll bring it up, that this is what they reviewed. It breaks down exactly how much, what was the budgeted revenue for last fiscal year, what it is going forward, what the increase was with using the 3.99. And then obviously there's discussions in the memo itself. There's wording and stuff talking about rollback rate and what it is and what it's set to this year, 3.86.
So the savings to is $365,000, right? They're $305,000.
It's basically saying if we adopt 3.99 as proposed, the increase in property tax revenue to the city compared to what it was in this fiscal year that we're in now, 2022, is $365,000. So that's how much more in revenue, in ad valorem revenue we have this year.
Can you
go ahead, Jay, go ahead.
I was just saying, but Alfredo, that's coming from the increase of revenues coming from the assessments. The rollback piece, I think, is sort of, at least I think that's what Steve and I are interested in, is, what's the net savings, just that difference between 3.99 and what it is today, assuming that we have the revenue side, or we have the assessment side locked down.
So what's the question? I'm sorry. Okay.
So yeah. So how much does the average homeowner, save with a 3.99 number? Again, comparing apples to apples. So this year's revenue or tax assessed number in the equation on both sides, old rate, new rate. How much is the average homeowner going to save?
So, okay. So just so I'm on the same page, it was sort of what we went over at the last meeting. At the last meeting, I brought up the Excel spreadsheet and we compared, okay, so under the new average homestead, it's about $100 savings if it stays at 4.3 versus if it goes down to 3.99. That's not included in the memo for the setting of the millage.
So the $100 is based on that $300,000 savings, right? For some reason, my number was close to $1 million, but I don't remember where that number is coming from right now. I'm drawing a blank.
So okay,
I'm sure we're gonna get to it on this meeting, but that was just right. Jay, do you remember that at all? Like, for some reason, I thought there was a close to $1 million number, and then we split that divided by all the households, and then that's where we got the $100 per household.
Yeah, I remember going through some of the gyrations. I think one of the things that was different is that the 3.99 was still sort of conceptual in terms of that's what the commission was going to go for or try for. And so, Alfredo, it'd be nice to know, what that does really look like from we don't have to have it right now, but it'd be nice if you could share that with us after the fact of what's
not only that, the commission should know that number. I mean, if they're going to have a meeting about it in a few hours, they should know that number.
Yeah, I thought it was a negligible amount, but that's all right.
I'm trying to look through the okay, well, there's going to be a presentation while Parks is doing his presentation while Q's here, Mr. Q. Yeah. I'm going to look for exactly the Excel spreadsheet so I'll look at it one more time in reference to what the medium household is, and if we apply the 4.3 versus the 3.99, what the actual homeowner from the city standpoint. Now, all the other tax rates, which it's a long list of tax rates, those are also being debated as we speak and doing budget hearings as well. And those rates aren't set there either. But you're right. I mean, we can show and reflect the millage, what the effect is on the average homeowner.
Right. And just from the stand, like you said, just from the impact of the South Miami numbers, I saw the Miami-Dade mayor on TV, I guess yesterday or the day before, and they're obviously going for a reduction as well. So maybe it'll actually amount to something across the whole damn county and state.
Well, if you read that, I think you're talking about the article where they're proposing, and they've adopted a 1% decrease in village. And there's a few county commissioners and property appraisers that said we should go 3%. Yeah. Of the 12% increase in taxable assessed value throughout the whole county. And she says we can discuss that at the budget hearing, but at least this gives us, it's a reduction of something. And we'll hear more about those and what we can set it to as a majority come September.
Is that a drop? Is that a drop in millage, Alfredo?
They're dropping their millage by 1%.
1%, 1 full percent. Okay, wow.
1%, and they're saying that they should. Some people are making the claim. Elected officials, the property appraiser came out publicly and said it in that article that the county should be going down 3%, reducing the
3 points millage, 3-point millage, 3%.
No, 3%, 3%,
3%, not 3 points.
Right, like ours, our 3.9 is a 6.98% drop in millage percentage-wise.
Got it.
So they went down 1%. They're recommending 3, and we're doing, or what's being presented today is 6.98.
Yeah.
So it's a significant decrease in millage, just to put it in perspective.
For South Miami.
For anybody. For anybody to go down this much in percentage is.
Well, but that's what South Miami is proposing.
That's correct. That's what it's being heard today by the commission. And while he's doing that presentation, I'm going to bring up the average, like we did last week, which I saved it. I just got to find the file, and we're going to go over it again, probably at the end of the meeting.
As electric as this conversation is, we probably should get Quentin presenting before he goes to sleep.
Okay, so just real quick before he does that, I wanted to also share one last thing. So so the budget schedule, is that okay? We already addressed that, even though it's item number 4. That's been. All that's changed is the last hearing is now Wednesday, September 21st, and please be prepared, obviously, on August 4th for your presentation at 10 a.m. All right, so one last thing just to bring it up. If I can bring up. This is the agenda, the comparison. At one of the budget and finance meetings, I think this, not last one, but the one before that, it was discussed, benchmark, to look at different cities, see how we compare across.
Yeah.
Well, what we did was we put together a sort of a cities that are either similar in size, and Pinecrest is a little bit bigger than us, but geographically they're at least in the same area. We couldn't even think of, excuse me, my light went out. We couldn't include Coral Gables because Coral Gables is a monster. It's a very large city. It's 3 times our size, if not more. So we put this together, and here in staff, and we were looking at the numbers, and we were using the annual financials, the budget numbers, and we tried calculating and putting it together. So to give a picture, and it's super difficult, and I'll tell you why, because some of these stuff that we have, like we have parking, which is, hence other general fund revenue increases it pretty much greater than most of them. And the reason is because parking is a big, it's a big revenue source for us. It's the second largest revenue source for the city. Ad valorem, in ad valorem, in using that as revenue, we're lower than a lot of them. But you'll see some things that we have, police 37%, everybody else at 43, 38, 42. But some of them, like they have golf. We don't have golf. So it's hard, That's why.
Should we?
Listen, I'm ready. If we want to start a course, is there anywhere we can put it?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. Down Sunset.
Under the Metro Rail.
So you see, and then, we have our procurement office. Everybody, they don't have it. They sort of, I think, encompass it a lot of times inside of non-departmental. And then they have a different category. So I just wanted to provide you with a benchmark. We don't normally compare ourselves to cities only because it's very difficult, because they may have some amenities that we don't, and vice versa. Like none of them have, that I know of, and you can tell me, in parks, none of them have a clay courts. All right. I think Coral Gables is the only one that has clay courts, tennis program.
Correct. That is correct.
I don't know if this provides you.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So we're in the ballpark.
I don't know if it's very different though, Alfredo. I mean, yes, there's very little. Like they have golf, but you can put that in parks, and then you see what that's part of their park system probably. That we can put apples and green apples and red apples, but at least we can start understanding that stuff, so we can see what the budgeted stuff for parks are, or police, that should be apples to apples, code, planning, building. A lot of the stuff is apples to apples.
Yeah.
Right, Alfredo?
I mean, yeah, I mean, again, Pinecrest Gardens, that's a huge infrastructure that Pinecrest has, that they put a lot of money into it. Golf is one, tennis is another, parking. I mean, there's certain things. None of these individual cities have a parking infrastructure. None of them. Coral Gables does. They're actually one of the biggest ones. Then Miami Beach and the Parking Authority are probably the biggest parking infrastructure programs in the county.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is a good start.
So I just wanted to provide that so you can see it and look at it. And if over time you have any questions on any of them, then we can actually pull it and dissect it further.
I think Ms. Kamali said something.
I just wanted to make sure to clarify something. Under each divisions and departments, there is a little bit difference. For example, under city managers, I do have the grant writer salary under my budget. So, and I do have like $100,000 for contingency that get used for the whole city, for all the other department as well. So if you go line item by line item, there are some differences that in each city that may not be applicable in other cities.
Yeah. Do we know that? Do we know that for a fact though? For example, do we know that Miami Shores doesn't have a grant writer or anything like that?
Under the city managers?
Well, anywhere really, right? I would assume that most of these municipalities have grant writers as well.
Yes, but they not necessarily are under city managers department. So they could be under another department.
Finance or whatever. Yeah, okay, yeah. I got you.
I just wanted to make sure, clarify.
No, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So with that said, I just want to provide that you can look it over. Any questions or anything you want to sort of elaborate on this, we can dive deeper into it if you wish. And this we worked up and we put it together just so that we can, compare percentages. Like you're looking at it, police 37 versus 42, 38, 43,
The only one that's the Miami Shores and Miami Springs are running at deficits.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it's not uncommon to see that.
No, I know. I'm just stating an observation.
We pride ourselves. We obviously try to match our revenues and expenses. In some cases, running a negative like them, they may have too much overage in fund balance, and they're instead of increasing taxes, or they're using the unrestricted unreserves to reduce it because it's too much by spending it. In other words.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. So with that takes care. I'm gonna now. That's item. Just to go back. That is item 1. I'm going to be on for a while. We have a commission meeting, and I know that Q is over at Parks. So I'm going to ask if it's okay if he could do his presentation, which is item number 5, and that way he can travel here while I continue with the parking and all the other ones. If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Q, the floor is yours.
Mm-hmm. It is. Thank you, Alfredo. Let me share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, good afternoon again. I'll briefly cover the financial standing for the Aquatic Center, tennis at Dante Fussell Park, and the Community Center. This represents 3 of the 5 divisions within the department. I'm open to answering any questions after each slide, should you have any. Let's start with the community pool. The pool officially opened August 2014 for a few weeks remaining during the summer. The pool operates 6 months of the year, mid-March through September. Programs include swim lessons, water aerobics, public open swim, lap swim, and private rentals. At the June 13 Budget and Finance Committee meeting, a question was raised about the actual contractual spending in FY20 and FY21 versus the budgeted amount in FY22 of $16,320. I wanted to briefly echo Alfredo's response that this was indeed a result of COVID-19 pandemic. The pool chemicals and an instructor for water aerobics make up roughly 80% of contractual services. We suspended all programs and activities in March 2020 and then reopened mid-June 2020 with limited activities and at a reduced user capacity, which represents the low numbers of the 4,158 and the 3,024. Due to those limited operations, our chlorine output was reduced and there was no need for an instructor because we didn't offer water aerobics in FY 2020 and FY 21. Out of caution, we continue to limit activities and reduce pool capacity levels throughout the pool season in 2021. Any questions on this slide?
No.
No.
Continuing with the community pool, the actual for FY 21, we budgeted, or we had an adopted budget of 131. The revenue we received was 10,000. Our actual operating expense was 85,783. We had a negative net profit of 75,731. Fast forward to FY 22, this is a projection. Our adopted budget for FY 22 was 131. Anticipated revenue is 12,000. Operating expense is 75,000. We're looking at a net profit of a negative net profit of $63,000. I'm pretty sure some of you guys are wondering, hey, if we budgeted 131 for FY 21 and also again in FY 22, and we're only spending 85,000 and 75,000 respectfully, why is that? Why are we over budgeting or whatever it may be? I wanted to be known that the pool division is made up of 5 seasonal part-time staff members. We budget as if everyone will show up to work as scheduled for 6 months. Personnel services make up roughly 45% of the pool budget. Part-timers in general are inconsistent, as you may imagine. For this division in particular, they are usually young, between the ages of 16 and 25 years old. They're enrolled in school. Therefore, they have school conflicts. They call in sick. They take family vacations, etc. So we seldom use all of the funding allocated in personnel services. But then more importantly, again, we budget as if they will show up to work every day. Any questions on this slide?
And I have you said the pool's open 6 months of the year, right?
That is correct, mid-March through September.
So in round numbers, if we're taking in 12,000 in revenues, we're only collecting about $66 a day. Is that possible in revenue?
That sounds about right. That's what's going on currently.
And so, at some point, not for this meeting, but I would love to, pools are something I sort of know. I've been around that world a lot. And so maybe we can sit down and talk a little bit about what we really get, where our revenues come from there, how much is through the gate kids, how much you got to give away, how much is clubs renting it and so forth, and see if there isn't some ways that we might be able to bring in more revenue on that side and make it less of a loser.
Absolutely. I'm open to that. With that, let's do this. So we can still meet, Jay. I'll just give you a little bit of I guess, visual. Swim lessons, we contract out. That's roughly 8,000 for FY 22. That's about 8,000 in revenue there. Water aerobics is another approximately $1,000, $1,200. Open swim, these are the daily entry rates for folks that come in. That's estimated at another $1,000. So right here, we're about $10,000. Lap swim and rentals make up an additional $2,000. So in a nutshell, that's where the $12,000 is coming from. But certainly, to dive into it a little further, we can meet one-on-one.
Yeah, I just like to look at each of those little component parts there and see, because besides the fact that Josh built the pool the wrong way and didn't put enough lanes in there, there's got to be a way to make more revenue off of that thing, because lap swimming was so coveted, is still so coveted time. It's hard to find around town, believe it or not, in Florida. So anyway, there's got to be a way to drive that some.
Understood. The proposed budget for FY23, we're requesting a budget of 130. We're anticipating revenue of 12,000, and the net is 118. But again, that's not the actual operating expense that we're expecting. So just keep that in mind there.
Right.
Here's a benchmark. Unlike Alfredo, I picked a much larger city comparison. I picked our neighbor Coral Gables, but just keep in mind that Coral Gables, their aquatic center is, if you've been there, is really a tourist attraction. I mean, it's something very spectacular.
It's Venetian pool?
That is correct. Venetian pool. Their pool size is 8 times the size of our aquatic center. They're using spring water from an underground aquifer. They have concessions at their pool area. They charge higher fees and they have longer operation periods. So just keep that in perspective. But in 21, our variance was a negative net profit 75,000, as I mentioned before. Coral Gables variance is a negative 340,553. The projection for FY22, I'm projecting a variance of negative 63,000, whereas Coral Gables is looking at a 104.
It's not the value there, Q. It's the percentages that we need to work on.
That is correct. Yeah. That is correct.
Yeah.
Here's a quick look at the fee schedule. Again, we have other fees for the pool, but this just in a nutshell, just comparison between us and Gables. We charge $1 for youth, whereas Gables charges $5.50 for their entry fee. We charge $3 for an adult, whereas Gables charges $6.50. So those are the entry fee comparison for the pool.
Again, that goes largely to the historical nature of Venetian pool.
That is correct. All right. Moving on to tennis. We began running tennis in-house in FY16. The previous agreement was outsourced for approximately $24,500. We decided to bring it in-house because the facility wasn't being properly maintained by the vendor, and we received numerous complaints about customer service, the operations that were going in there. So we elected to bring it in-house because we thought we could do a better job. Some of the current programs that we offer, daytime and evening court rentals, private lessons, after school and camps, adult clinics, small tournament style matches. The actual for FY21, we had an adopted budget of 433. The revenue received was 562. Our actual operating expense was 349, and our net profit was a positive 212,505. I want to talk a little bit about FY21 because it was an odd year where we generated 212,000 in net profit. This is a result of the installation of new tennis lights during the last 6 months of FY21 and the division operating understaffed or at status quo. So although we put in those new lights, we were still operating in a sense where we didn't install lights. So the net profit is very, very high for this particular year. So it's an anomaly. The next table illustrates FY19, which was our final full year with no lights. The net profit was 83,927. So this was our final year where we operated 1 year with no lights. The next table is FY22, which will be our first full fiscal year with lights. The net profit is 135. The delta between the 135 and the 83,000, we can go ahead and assume that new tennis lights generate roughly 51,000 in net profit each year. Any questions about this area?
What was the cost of the lights?
Oh, the lights were, if I'm not mistaken, it was, I don't want to misquote, but I want to say it was roughly about $400 and something thousand. I don't recall the exact number.
Hey, Quentin, I've got a question for you. So the revenue 2021, you said that was the year the lights were installed.
Correct. That was March 2021.
Okay, so actually late in that budgeted year, right?
Correct. March. Let's see, April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, there were 6 months remaining.
So there was $562,000 in revenues that year, with only half a year of lights. Correct. Yet our revenue is projected to be only $555,000 this year, with a full year of lights, which I assume lights means extended operating hours. So I'm curious why our revenue hasn't gone up beyond that 562.
Yeah, really good question, Jay. Beginning October 1st, 2021, we went from a part-time maintenance worker to a full-time maintenance worker in order to support full year operation. So that increased, that changed. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was somewhere around $50,000 or something like that, including benefits and et cetera.
So
we're not talking about
the revenue side.
We're talking about the revenue side, not the net side.
Yeah. The expense side, I get it, because I would expect you to have greater costs now that you're running it later and you're running the lights.
Right.
But the revenue side is actually down a little. Do we somehow or another reduce the rate we're charging per whatever's the right thing, court hour or something there? There's something seems wrong there.
Yeah, two things at play here. One, this is just a projection. I'm being very conservative here.
Okay.
And then number two, we did increase the hourly wages for our tennis pros. So that's factored into this whole revenue projection.
That would be on the operating expense. Right?
Still the expense side. So it's just the revenue piece, Quentin, that we're curious about, because you have any idea what were the hours of the park? And I'm sure this just impacts, I don't know. Does this impact us only in some, maybe that's part of it. Do the lights only benefit us in winter, or do we actually stay open even later in summer?
No, we're open year round. The lights are operating year round. We're open late year round.
And the lights turn on every time at the same time, or are we pushing the lights? I guess that's what Jay's asking. Does it?
Yeah, same time. They come on at sunset. Of course, 6 months out the year, they may come on a lot earlier.
Right.
At 5:30 or 6 o'clock or whatever. Whereas right now they may be coming on at 7:30, 8 o'clock. So.
Jay, I think this is something we just have to watch. I mean, it's the first full year. I think he's being conservative on the number. Let's just.
Yeah, Quentin, I would just say, look, I think that we must have extended hours of utilization of the court with the lights, because when we didn't have lights in the winter, you would have to shut the thing down at 5:30. In the summer, it was probably roughly the same, even though you had the lights available. How late is that park typically open for tennis?
Jay, you cut off for half of your statement, so
sorry.
Just repeat it.
Yes, no problem. How late are we open in the summertime at the tennis center?
We're open. We're open to 9 p.m.
And is that the same in the wintertime?
That is correct.
So so the wintertime we're picking up at least 3 hours a day, if not 4, of use because of the lights. In the summer, picking up maybe a little. Anyway. As Steve said, we just follow that one. But I would think our revenue number would start to be looking quite a bit better.
Right. And I don't doubt it. Like I said, these are very conservative.
Yeah.
I'm projecting our full year. I likely will return back to you all once we know for sure what it's going to be.
The other thing, Jay, that I noticed, Q, and correct me if I'm wrong, we spent $400,000 on lights, and it's generating $51,000 more a year. That's more than a 10% cap return on investment there. That's pretty healthy.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Steve, you weren't here last year, but Alfredo, I think you gave us sort of a lecture. It's the best revenue return we have within the city.
I bet we can better it with another light system, but we'll talk about that later.
That is correct.
All right. And again, no problem. For FY23, again, being very conservative at this point, I do expect these numbers to be better, but we're budgeting 516. Anticipated revenue is 600,000. Net is 83. We are making a staffing change in order to better meet the demands of the park and tennis center at Dante Fussell Park. For instance, we're going from, rather than having 3 part-timers, we're eliminating one of those part-timers and adding a full-time rec staff member. So that's one of the differences that's being made to our staffing levels to help cover hours, to improve the inconsistency that we're getting with part-timers. So just keep that in mind.
Quinn, can you go back? I just want to verify something real quick. When you talk about staffing numbers, that is not part of the operating expense. That's another expense that you're not putting up here, right? Is that correct?
When I talk about staffing, that's part of the personnel. So our budget is made of personnel services and operating expense. So when I talk about staffing, it is in the total tennis budget, which is part of the personnel services.
But it's not, yeah, okay. So net does that include the subtraction of personnel services? Personnel salaries.
It does.
Oh, so it's included. Okay, good.
It's included, correct.
So this is a true net.
This is a true net.
Okay, cool. Because that's fine.
Yeah.
In the pools, you didn't do that though.
In the pool is a true net as well. We have 5 timers at the pool, and that's included in that net.
All right, got it. Thank you.
No problem. Here's a benchmark analysis again with Coral Gables for FY21. Again, odd year for the city, or at least for the department. 212 in revenue. Gables has a negative 402 for their tennis center or their tennis division.
The tennis courts called it's Dante Fussell and the other park, right?
They don't charge at the other park. They only charge.
Oh, we don't? Okay, never mind then. Thanks, Danny.
No, correction. Steve, your question is this inclusive of where we have tennis courts elsewhere throughout the city?
Yeah.
No, this is only for Dante Fussell Park, and we do charge at Brewer and Marshall Williamson.
That's what I was asking.
Yes. Yeah, we do charge rental fees and instructor fees for those individuals who may be doing private lessons. That was something that was changed maybe 2-3 years ago.
But not for private users, though.
We are charging private users. They have to pay an instructor fee. They have to get a permit in order to operate.
No, I think he's saying like me, a resident.
No, as a resident, yeah, because I played at Brewer and Marshall Williamson. I've never paid a fee.
Right. If you're going, hypothetically speaking, if you're going out, Danny, with your friend and you're just using the court for recreational purposes, there's no charge to you. However, if you're doing private instructions and if you do want to reserve a court, like you want to make sure you get a court, you can pay as a resident or a non-resident.
Gotcha. Thanks.
So, Danny, you have to go at 2 p.m. in the middle of the sun to go play for free.
That is correct.
I have done that. Simply enough, I have done that.
All right. So, and then the forecast for FY22 again is 135. Gables is looking at a negative net profit of 440. Any questions here?
No, that's impressive.
Here's our fee schedule compared to Coral Gables. We charge $5 for daytime rentals, and Gables charges $4.60 or $4.60. We charge $6 for evening or nighttime play, and Gables charges $8. As you can see, they differentiate between Miami-Dade residents and I guess non-county residents, and
visitors.
Exactly, visitors, right? And we do basically city residents, or actually we don't. Yeah, we do differentiate. We do residents versus non-residents. Any questions here?
Yeah.
Moving on to the Gibson Bethel Community Center. We opened in 2003, approximately 22,000 square feet. The facilities here include a multi-purpose room, classroom, computer lab, basketball gym, fitness center. We have locker rooms upstairs and restrooms on both floors, the ground and the first level. Our revenue sources consist of fitness memberships, facility rentals, and various programs such as camps after school, youth classes, etc., or fitness classes. The actual for FY21, we budgeted, we had an adopted budget of 640, revenue 82,000, operating expense 511. We had a negative net profit of 429. The projection for FY22 is an adopted budget of 652, revenue 95, operating expense 512, and a net of 417. Now, I know you guys may have some similar questions as some of the other ones. Keep in mind here that personnel services make up roughly 85% of the budget of the GBC. So, for instance, we may be budgeting. What does it say here for FY22? We have a budget here of an adopted budget of 652,228. 85% of this, or 551, is coming from staff. And our proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year is recommended budget is 757, revenue 100,000, and a negative net of 657. Questions?
If you're going back to FY22, you have a budget of 652. 80% of that is over $500,000, and your operating budget is 512. I'm not understanding the math there.
That's because we have 27 staff members here. 22 of them are part-time. So of those part-time employees, again, we budget as if they're going to be here every single day. That doesn't happen. There's
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen with part-time. It's truly an inconsistent adventure.
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a benchmark.
Q, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask you a question. So, and you've been here, I don't know how long you've been with Parks, but just me trying to understand this. When we first budgeted it back in 2003, what was the thought process with this park? Like, did we feel like it was going to always run at a negative? It's something that we're just providing to the community. It's part of our overall budget. Do you guys know what the intention was here from the get-go, just historically?
Yeah. So as of next month, this will be my 9th year here with the city. I started in 2013. The community center was constructed and opened in 2003. So 10 years before my time here. I'm not exactly sure at that particular time what the vision was as far as would this just be a center to be provided for the community at whatever cost, or they were trying to operate it at a profit. My understanding, I don't know of any community center. I mean, I've been in the industry maybe about 16 years now. I'm not aware of any community center where they operate at a net profit, with the exception of Key Biscayne. Now, I would imagine this particular community center, from what I know, it was meant to provide area residents in a CRA community with the place for indoor recreation, providing them with the indoor basketball gymnasium, arts and craft, after school programs, things of that nature at a very affordable rate for medium to low income individuals. That's sort of my understanding, as this was once a CRA area, and that was the sort of, I think, the intent for the community center. Not that we should be operating, at a ridiculous net loss, but I think it was always first community programming first, and then fees and things of that nature second.
Yeah, I think as long as, and that maybe that was the intention at the get-go. That's my point. It's just making sure that we always have a strangle on it. Yeah, it's all right. I just wanted to understand.
Gotcha. Here's the benchmark analysis between the city and Gables and Village of Pinecrest. You can see the variance from each one. You also could look at the revenues for each one. Keep in mind that, no two community centers are alike. For instance, Gables, Pinecrest, their particular community centers, they have a theater room, they have concessions or a cafe built into their community center. It's located in a very different community than the one that we're in right now. They obviously have the ability to charge higher fees. They have multiple interior rental facilities. For instance, individuals who go work out at the gym, they have a room specially dedicated for daycare, where you could drop your kid off and you could go work out. They have gymnastics rooms and things like that. So they have special kitchens for cooking classes. So what I'm trying to get at is no two community centers are alike. I'm really happy that I did this because, or you guys recommended this, because there are some things that we could take away from other community centers and incorporate here. So again, just keep that in mind when you're looking at this benchmark analysis. And I'm here for questions.
Hey, Quentin, is in Pinecrest case, just because I can think of the courts, there's a tennis park down there in Pinecrest. I think it's theirs, not the county. Is their tennis numbers broken out as a separate animal, or is it in this Village of Pinecrest number? Do you know?
I didn't use their numbers because, if I'm not mistaken, they're not using clay courts. When you have clay courts, you generate a different number than those who have, hard court surfaces. It's not, for sure. It's not even comparable. So I elected not to include Pinecrest against the city, and I went with the bigger establishment, Gables, the Biltmore, the Salvador, because of their clay court usage.
However, I know that center on 104th Street in Pinecrest, that's got an enormous amount of lesson action going down there. I know some tennis guys who have fought to be the vendor there over the years. And so I know that's pretty big business. So they don't have clay, but I know they got a lot of folks in there. So anyway, I'm just curious. This also, Steve, this answers a little bit. There's a lot of what all of the cities are doing that they're willing to accept some degree of loss in order to provide the benefit to the city.
No, I'm with you on that. I understand that. I just wanted to see what benchmarks were. No worries.
But the better we can make them self-sustaining, the better we are, for sure.
Agreed. Yep. Let's see. The one amenity that we all have in common, our community center, the Village of Pinecrest, and Coral Gables, is that we have a fitness center. The fees for the Coral Gables Community Center wasn't readily available. I have to call my buddy over there to get that information, but I was able to get the Village of Pinecrest fitness membership fees. And as a comparison, we charge $5 for a daily drop-in, whereas Pinecrest charges $10.70. We charge $150 for an annual pass, whereas Pinecrest charges $428. So just a little.
They don't have a gym though, right? Basketball gym?
Pinecrest does not have a basketball gym. We do, obviously, as you know, Steve, but we both have a fitness center.
Yep. Okay.
And
Very
as you
interesting.
know, as you know, our membership includes the indoor basketball gymnasium as well. That was kind of changed up within the last year in order to find a way to increase memberships here at the community center, or bring some interest to coming to us rather than maybe a Planet Fitness or LA Fitness right across the street. So we added our indoor basketball gymnasium as part of our membership package here at the community center.
Yeah, and the youth center is like more like, I think it was last time I paid was like $220 a year.
Gotcha.
But I think it's gone up since then too. Okay.
Let's see. I'm sorry. Let's see. That concludes my piece. I'm open for any additional questions or concerns you may have.
No, Quentin, thanks for the great information.
Very good, Quentin. Very good presentation.
I appreciate it. Thank you all. Like I said, this was certainly beneficial for me, and me and my staff will take some stuff from here and see what we can do on our end. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll do it if you don't mind, Q. I would want to do a deep dive on South Miami Park coming up soon.
Okay, sounds good. Just give me a call, Steve.
Thanks.
Jay, same to you as well. Danny, I know you say you want to meet with me, but it's always open to you as well.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alfredo, anything else from me?
You're on mute, Fredo.
Thanks, Q.
Okay. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.
Later, Q.
You too.
So with that, I would like to bring in the next item, which the next item is the parking. Parking. You guys asked for a little bit of detail on what's involved or what brings in, what are the expenses related to the parking. So I'm going to share with you this screen so you can tell me when you guys can see it.
See it.
Yep.
Yep.
So we've made some adjustments to the parking expenses for this upcoming year. That's in line with kind of the discussions we've had before, and I'll share them with you again. Parking enforcement contract, we outsource 100% of it. We have no in-house employees. I oversee parking, or finance oversees parking. We outsource with LAS. We go out to bid every 5 years, and then an evaluation committee convenes and selects, and then goes to commission for approval. I believe we still have 2 years left on their 5-year contract with LAS parking. We've done studies based on the hours of operations of what we want, and hours of coverage, and significantly more affordable to go this route. And we've been doing this well before I was here. I started in 2010. They've been here at the city since 2005, I believe, or 2004. So Carlos Marinko is a parking manager that works for LAS. He is sort of the person I deal with when talking about parking, and he is extremely knowledgeable about this because he started off as an enforcement officer in 2006 or 2007, many years ago. So we outsource it. Chase Payment Tech, 220. We use credit card processing more now than ever before, and that is because now everything we're eliminating little by little all the pay stations. First, they cause graffiti and they're an eyesore, and we pay by phone is almost exclusively used now. People like to pay from their smartphones or by their phone, just calling the number that's on there and putting in their license plate. So pay by phone has been adopted throughout the county, not just in South Miami, and has been embraced by most parking customers. So that's Chase Payment Tech. That's a credit card fees. Estimate 10% of parking revenues. That's what goes to credit card fees. Digital pay station EMS. So we have 34 machines. It costs us to have connectivity. So that number should continue to be reduced as they break now. We're not fixing them. We're just eliminating them. Additional single meter head install and replacement. We're not doing any single meter heads as of this year. We've eliminated 100% single meter heads. And in those areas where we had single meter heads, because it didn't make any sense to buy one of those expensive machines, those multi-space parking machines are super expensive, nonetheless. And on top of it all, they have a huge carrying cost. So this is a significant, going by pay by phone is a significant savings to the city. So we've eliminated single meter heads, made it pay by phone only. And again, not one complaint. It's been fantastic, and it's already been well over 6 months. Pay station miscellaneous. We do have graffiti. We have to buy supplies to take them off the machines. We still have batteries, and until we eliminate them 100%, we have to maintain a presentable, especially because that's what everybody sees when they're driving through downtown, where the majority of the machines are. We have 5 pay stations over at South Miami Hospital, and then the rest of the 34 are located in downtown. We have no pay stations outside of downtown or the hospital. As you can see, warranty to support, expensive, $42,000. We decided not to renew it starting next year. And as they, again, like I mentioned, as soon as they break, we're removing them. If we can't just troubleshoot and fix them with the spare parts that we have in-house. Charge port, charging station maintenance. We have charge point stations. We have one at the community center, and then we have 2 here at City Hall. And what we use it for is to charge the leafs. Our parking enforcement vehicles are electric, 100% electric. So that we maintain the charging point. Security cameras. We have security cameras and software updates. We're installing in the parking garage a huge system. It's like $150,000. We're in the process of right now seeking contracts or seeking proposals from security companies that provide cameras. And we believe most of those come with an annual contract to continue to maintain them and update them with software updates. So we're estimating $5,000. Could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. It all depends on what the bid's coming at. And
hey, Alfredo,
yeah.
Alfredo, on the parking garage that we're talking about, I assume is the one there behind, or right there by Casa Cuba, correct? Behind the boiling crab. So have we seen any signs since we've taken over ownership, full ownership of it, and we tried to improve the signage, at least to some degree? Have we seen any signs that utilization of the garage has improved?
In other words, have we installed on-street signage?
Well, I know we've installed some. We changed some out. But have we seen, from a revenue standpoint, from a number of cars parking there, have we looked at all to see if that's trending up from when we took it over versus that other guy running it or owning it?
We just got the numbers for last year for him. We're doing a comparative analysis now to see how we just took it over in mid-April. It didn't officially take until May. So we're going to be analyzing.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that recent. Okay.
Oh yeah, it was just literally. We're still, matter of fact, we're still doing some paint jobs, and we're trying to bring this up to what we consider to be first-class standards.
Yeah.
It was, if you went into the stairs, I don't know how often you used to park in that garage. It was a little bit,
Never.
It wasn't maintained exactly how it should, because there is an expense. And obviously they're in the business of making money, and expense obviously goes into their profits. So, so we'll be doing an analysis but we have changed a lot of stuff already. Like, in other words, we have monthlies throughout the whole garage. We're trying to show a lot of movement in there. We're doing a lot of different things that he did. We're doing it differently. It's also cheaper to park there, almost $1 cheaper to park there than it is to park on street. We just implemented that in June. So, but yes, we're going to start analyzing and putting a month compared to what his months were, and see where we are in our operations. Has it taken effect?
So so what you were talking about, it's cheaper to park in the garage and on the street. I would suspect that beyond you, nobody else is aware of that. Certainly nobody walking down the street. And so between that, and I know we tried to improve the signage some, probably a year or more ago.
That's correct.
Because we had this conversation a little bit, I think, last year when we went through the budget thing. I'm not sure that's enough to really boost. So I just want to make sure we pay attention and make sure we're getting utilization boost. And if we aren't, take another look at some of those things, how to advertise that parking savings dollar, whatever it is on the street, and also get the signage even better still. I still think it's not very good compared to some places I've seen.
we'll do an evaluation. We'll look at it. Maybe there is a place where we can say, affordable, or that would reflect that it's a lesser hourly amount than on street, to see if we can garner up. We're also
maybe on those
with Larkin.
Yeah, maybe those parking signs that we have, with the numbers of them all around town. Maybe it's simply adding a line at the bottom that says, remember the garage is always cheaper, or the garage is likely cheaper, something like that, without blowing any agreements with anyone.
Right. We'll look into that.
Anyway, thanks.
No, my pleasure.
Folks, I gotta announce I have to leave very soon.
Oh yeah, you told us last week.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on parking, or can we take this one off?
We're done.
Okay, I'm hoping to see greater. All right, so with that said, there's how about this? We can leave it for next meeting. The department authorized position, just so you could see what, how our positions have compared from last year to this year. Are we budgeting more, budgeting less? And that's all that's left. And then at the next meeting, we got to start talking about what our recommendations are, what are our suggestions or accolades, whatever it is, what you want in that report. So when do you guys want to meet again? Because right now I have a TBD.
Can we go back to the Monday, 5:30 time or 5 time or whatever?
Mondays are much better for me. I can stay longer on Mondays.
Generally for me too.
So Monday the 25th, is that everybody okay with July 25th, Monday?
Yes.
I believe so. Hang on one second.
Steve, I think you're muted.
Yes.
Still think you're muted. So is everybody okay? I'm good with Monday, July 25.
Oh, I was talking to myself for like the last 2 minutes.
That's what I was trying to tell you. I was trying to tell you, I think you're muted, man. I don't know if you were talking to somebody else in the room or was it us?
I was talking to myself. I'm out the next 2 weeks. I leave the 22nd and come back the 6th. So if you guys have the meeting, that's fine. I mean, I'll if I can call, but we're missing one of the members today. So hopefully he's in so you guys can have quorum.
That day's fine for me anyway.
Yep, me too.
Let's shoot for that date.
What day?
The 25th, you said?
No, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, Steve's out, but we need to probably keep moving along. Who's our?
Exactly.
We just need to make sure our other person is here, as Steve points out.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, if you don't mind, I'll call you probably tomorrow if it's okay with you. We'll talk about all the improvements to me that you want to see or anything you have, and then I'll voice it at the committee meeting that you won't be present. And then
Perfect,
they'll take it into consideration if that's okay.
That's awesome. Maybe we'll meet up at the office.
Okay, perfect. Even better. And we can go over it in detail. And then that way on the 25th, I'll say, okay, well, this is what committee member Steve Kai is recommending.
That sounds very official.
Okay, I gotta go, folks.
Thank you, guys. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Danny.
it. I'll see you on Monday at 5:30.
Great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Alfredo, what time is the commission meeting today? At 7 or 7:30?
7 o'clock.
Oh, so you're about to start going over there, huh?
I'm gonna hang up here and then go to the commission to make sure everything's set up over there.
All right, later, guys.
Have a good one.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye, Jay.
Bye.